At the 2023 Kipkeino Classic in Nairobi, Kenya, we once again were witnesses to some of the fastest performances of the 2023 season. We saw Ferdinand Omanyala from Kenya run a 9.84 into a headwind to set the world's fastest time in the men's 100. We also saw Emmanuel Wanyonyi set the world lead at 143.32 in the 800 meters, and also he's only 18 years of age, which is pretty crazy.
That's all they do all
However,
day
on the day, I think that the most hyped and extraordinary performance came from none other than Sha'Carri Richardson, because what she did in the 200-meter dash is a clear sign that she is in some of the greatest fitness of her career. Now, heading into this race, Sha'Carri Richardson's 2023 season has been outstanding. In the 100 meters, she not only has a Diamond League victory to her name, currently holding the world's fastest position at 10.76 seconds,
she not smoking
but
no
let's
more
also
weed,
remember her
bro.
10.57. It really was quite extraordinary despite a strong tailwind. So far, 2023 has been a year of excellence for Sha'Carri Richardson. However, this 200-meter dash is a completely different kind of greatness, because with an easy and effortless victory at 22.07 seconds, she not only ran the fastest time that she has run in 3 years, but she also improved on her season's best by half of a second. But the numbers here only tell half of the story,
She looked fit,
because
though,
as you
too.
can see, she completely shut down this race with about 40 meters remaining.
She was like,
This picture right here tells the complete story as to what exactly happened in this women's 200. She got out to a very quick start,
these
she
niggas,
gassed the
bro.
field by a big margin. But then, as it was pretty obvious that she was going to win this race, she held her hands up high and literally jogged across the finish to a time of 22.07
I wouldn't jog, bro. I would have kept
seconds.
going.
Now, there's been a handful of races this season that we've seen where an athlete will close down over the final 20 or 30 meters. We saw this from Letsile Tebogo earlier this season, when he ran a time of 31.52
Why
in
he
the
look like
300.
Usain Bolt?
And while he certainly could have run much faster in this race, I think Sha'Carri Richardson shut it down even earlier, which means that almost certainly, if she had completely run through the line, she would have not only broken 22, but she could have gone well under 22 seconds.
Why did she do it?
Already, this 22.07 is the second fastest time in the women's 200 meters in the world this season, only falling behind Julian Alfred from the University of Texas. But how fast could she actually have run had she sprinted all the way through the tape?
21 seconds.
I've seen a few takes from various people on this matter, and people have estimates anywhere from 21.70 up to about 21.9. I think this is pretty accurate because she really did shut down this race extremely early. And even though we'll never know exactly how fast she could have run, I think a sub-22 is definitely in the works. But I also think that this is a clear and evident sign that something great is about to happen from Sha'Carri Richardson. As we've mentioned multiple times on this channel, it has been a long and winding road for Sha'Carri Richardson since 2019. After a stellar 2019 season in the NCAA, she took to the professional scene, where, unfortunately, she wasn't even really able to compete in 2020, given the global pandemic lockdowns that took place. However, come 2021, she really did set the world on fire, and it's not just because she had red hair, winning the Olympic trials in the United States. It's because she was throwing down
People be calling her
times
ghetto because of
and
her
also
hair,
reaching
bro.
historic top-end
That's
speeds.
crazy.
Now, Sha'Carri Richardson's past in the 100 meters certainly bodes well for her chances this season in 2023, but given her newfound strength that clearly has sub-22 potential in the 200, if she can put both of these assets together, she is going to be very dangerous as we get closer and closer to the World Championships in Budapest. Now, the one key factor that many people have pointed to where Sha'Carri Richardson could use a little bit of improvement is on her start. As we saw in this year's Diamond League opener, she got an okay start, but it wasn't great, falling just a little bit behind Sharika Jackson in
She
the women's
pick up
100.
speed though.
However, that final 50 meters is a big deal, because to run this kind of stretch over last year's 200-meter world champion showcases supreme top-end speed, and she also just proved amazing strength in this 200-meter dash. With season's bests of 22.07 and 10.76 under legal conditions, we're talking about two times that could potentially medal in the World Championships. And while I doubt that she'll pursue the 200 meters quite as much as the 100 meters, she's currently looking extremely fit, and she is looking extremely healthy as well. In a recent interview, Richardson talked about how she finally found her peace on the track, and how she's also not going to let anyone impede her ability to compete at her best. It really has been a rocky road for the past 2 seasons, but to see her finally putting a good season together and running a good time on the international scene really does showcase extraordinary potential this season. And I think that with the current landscape of women's
She
sprinting,
crazy fast.
we really
God
could be in for
damn.
something historic come this year's World Finals. Because not only do we have Sha'Carri Richardson running extremely well, but there is always the dangerous and extremely talented Jamaican contingent.
Oh yeah.
So if we can finally get that clash
Jamaican
between
ladies
Shelly
don't
Ann
play no
Fraser-Pryce,
games.
Sharika Jackson, Elaine Thompson-Hira, and Sha'Carri Richardson, and if they can all compete at their best, I think we could finally see someone rise to the occasion and run something faster than we've seen in decades. Now, we're still just over 90 days away from this year's World Championships, which is clearly a lot of time in the track and field world. But it's also going to sneak up on us. So if Sha'Carri Richardson can simply stay healthy and time her season correctly, we're talking about a potential sub 10.7 in this year's World Finals. However,
Look
we
at
cannot
these girls.
ignore
They're
the
trying
simple
so
and
hard
obvious
too.
fact that Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce
It's her
is the
world. They're
greatest
just
female
living in it.
championship sprinter of all time, winning 5 individual World Championship golds and 2 extra Olympic gold medals in the women's 100.